Hi, welcome to Hope in the Light of Suicide. I'm Tammy White. I'm the founder of the Bobby White Foundation.
And good afternoon, I'm Bonnie Snyder. I'm your co-host.
Yay. We're in a little bit of a different set today. It seems kind of weird.
It's not our normal set.
Not our normal set. Unfortunately, our normal set had some little
Technical difficulties.
We've been getting a lot of rain, and it's been really cold, but we've been getting a lot of rain, and the ceiling was leaking over our set. So we get a new set, and I feel like I should be doing a crafting segment or something here.
I know. I recently taking up quilting.
Oh, this would have been
And
perfect. You could be
I
sampling.
was like, oh my gosh, this looks like it's a larger version of the acrylic, quilting thing that I have.
For your measuring and cutting and.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
So, you guys find this missing. It's at my house. So I'll bring it back next week.
So again, welcome. We want to always thank Rob and Dylan and Cage and John for giving us this platform and doing what they do, because we couldn't be here if they weren't there. So
this set kind of makes me. It has like a nostalgic feel to it, because it makes me think back to when we first started this. Remember, when we first started, we were sitting behind a desk.
Yeah, we were sitting behind the desk that they use for Nerd Talk.
And then they took the desk away. Like, we started out, we were sitting in chairs, and then we ended up behind a table, and now, we're. Yeah.
It's good to shake it up a little bit.
I know. I like variety.
Yeah.
Variety.
Yeah, it just seems kind of weird. But hey, it's all cool. We're dedicating this show today to your grandson.
Yeah. Leading up to this week, I asked myself, or you had made the comment, that, or let me rephrase this, I was mindful that there was a potential that this week was going to be challenging, because this is, what, I don't want to say, Aydin's week, but, my brain wasn't totally processing, as I was, doing my work, at work, today, and then coming into the studio, that today is Aydin's birthday. So, when this airs, you guys will see this show on, Saturday. It airs on Saturday. But as you may or may not know, we film on Tuesday. So we're actually filming this show on Aydin's actual birthday. And, there was a part of me that was like, it was somewhat fitting that we would be taping it on his actual birthday. But at the same time, what, the birthday represents. And I was looking at, my social media feed, family members, were posting back and forth, that, he would be 17 today. And, as we're looking back, 17-year-old, like, what would be going on, like, right now? It's like, we're in February now, May. So, in 3 months, we would be discussing, he's graduating from high school. I'm quite sure, or maybe he'd be going into, would he be a junior or senior this year? I think he would be.
He may have been a junior.
Yeah, potentially he's going to be junior or senior.
Yeah.
But we'd be talking about his last 2 years, of school. There's a potential he'd be discussing, I just got my permit, or I just got, Kansas, Missouri, you can get your driver's license at 16. Much like it, same like it is here in Florida. But, I'm sitting back thinking to myself, I could be hearing, Nana, I got my license. I want a car. you know, and, you know, his mom and his dad, you know, Carl, Kira, you know, and, you know, either myself or the rest of the family, so they get Aydin a car, and what kind of car is he going to get? You know, or discussing where he wanted to go to college, or, you know, or just, you know, I'm thinking I should, you know, we should be discussing, you know, hey, summer's coming up, like his, you know, his siblings have indicated, you know, wanting to come, like a couple of them are coming, you know, for spring break. A couple others are coming, you know, like after, you know, like the June time frame for, you know, part of the summer break. And I'm like, you know, you should be included in, you know, these plans. You know, and I'm just thinking, if only I'd known, if only I would have known. You know, moving here, you know, to Florida. I mean, I've been here, what, 13 years now? You know, 13 years ago. Yeah, well, this is the reason. If I didn't known 10 years after I moved to Florida, he'd have been gone. Would I have made different decisions? You know, or what would have been different? Or, you know, if I still would, you know, I probably would have still moved here. You know, but what would have been different? You know, in the struggle with memories, you know, that we will never, we can't make. You know, not being able to spend the amount of time, you know, with him that I would have liked to. You know, then there's some other, like, you know, residual stuff that, you know, yeah, we'll keep those, you know, close at hand. Yeah, so, you know, happy 17th, Aydin. I hope, you know, I'm sure you're doing it up. You know, make Uncle Pat, make Uncle Pat, you know, take you out somewhere. You know. But we miss him. We think of him on a daily basis. You know, and, you know, we continue to be saddened by, you know, his loss. And I think more importantly, I would have loved to have seen, and if I saw the imprint that he left on the world in the, you know, short 14 years that he was with us, I could only imagine what that imprint would be.
Would have been.
You know, going forward. You know, like Carl said, you know, the fact that he, you know, will never, he didn't get to meet his little sister. And I could just imagine, you know, what that would have been like. You know, he's not the baby of the family anymore. You know, now his baby status has been replaced, you know, by bricks. And, you know, I saw how he was, you know, with his, actually now he wasn't the baby anymore, because I keep forgetting. How could I forget? You know, Mikey, you know, his little brother, you know, his mom and her current husband. You know, so I watched, you know, how he was perfectly fine relinquishing the baby status to Mikey, and, you know, how he was with Michael. To, you know, I could imagine what that relationship would have been with the little sister.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah, so.
Well, so this show's for Aydin, and please keep the entire family in your thoughts and prayers and hearts, and as we can do virtually for you, whatever, you know, you're dealing with too.
It is. I mean, it's, you know, it's one of the blessings of having this platform, you know, to be able to, you know, bring, you know, you know, whether it's, you know, message, information, you know, that glimmer of hope, you know, to somebody else who might be dealing with this.
Yeah, I think sharing, you know, whether it's our messages or you sharing your messages, I think it's helpful and healing for people, for others not to know, or to know that you're not alone, that, you know, there's others going through it, and reach out. You know, you don't have to do it alone. It's a rough road all by yourself. and you're not by yourself.
Right, and it can be. Some
Yeah.
people, which is why I love, when we get into this next chapter, sometimes I love it when it's almost like the stars align, and either the topic that we have going on, or the chapter that we're about, to cover in the book, and I was like, someone up there knew that this was going to be this needed to be the discussion today, because it is so fitting for today and what it represents. And you're right, you're not in this alone. And sometimes there are individuals who think, yeah, I got this. I don't need anybody else. I got this. Only recognize that, okay, you may have it, or even think you have it, or I don't want to minimize. There are some people who, are able to get through rough spots without, a lot of aid or assistance from others. However, at the same time, it's important to acknowledge that just because you have the ability to deal with things on your own doesn't mean that you have to.
Right.
And I think recognizing that there's that hopefully we all have someone, in the corner somewhere that we can call on when the burden gets a little heavy.
Yeah, exactly. That is so true. Before we get into our book, though, because I know that if we get into the book, then I'm not going to get the stuff about this weekend. So our local state college, Pasco-Hernando State College, this past weekend had a, family fun festival and health fair out at the college. The weather was so cold and crappy, but a lot of people showed up with their kids and stuff, and we were set up actually right next to the Pasco County Sheriff's Department. We had a table down there. I wish I would have had a hat and gloves. I was dressed warm, but we had a few misty showers come through. But the college put on a really super event. They had this picture here. Actually, the president of the college put that on for his cover photo on Facebook.
Nice.
One of the gals that I know that worked there sent that to me. So, and I was, across the way from me was ASAP's table and a Baycare table. And they had, kids were walking around with these ginormous things of cotton candy, and it was so funny because the walkway was kind of not real big. So the parents were cotton candy down their arms, But it was about a 4-hour event. It was a free event. With the weather, I was really pleased with the turnout that we had. And they had a DJ. They had food out there. What's that? Chicken Girl. What's that? Chicken Girl. There's a chicken place. I think it's in Trinity. They had a big booth, and they were giving away samples of their food, which was really cool. They had the college mascot was there, and the DJ, and in front of the gym there's a big cement area walkway, and they had people out there dancing, and the mascot out there dancing, and it was a good event.
That was Saturday, right?
It was Saturday, yeah. It was really nice Friday and warm, and then you wake up Saturday morning, and then since Saturday morning we've had this cold, drizzly, yucky weather, which we still have. But like I said, the event turned out really great. The college did an awesome job putting the event on. The sheriff's department had one of the canines out there, Buster. He was, I think he was a bloodhound. He was so cute. And I got to speak with a couple of the sheriff's deputies there and gave them some purple folders and hopefully made some more contacts, with them. So that was cool. So that was kind of a fun thing to do.
I always find it nice when we are, supporting, our community partners and, their events, and that they, in turn, will invite us out to get the message out. We have a very unique, collaboration here in our community. I'm really impressed with it.
Yeah, we do, and it continues to even get better. It really does. And actually, the president of the college came. He was walking by, and was looking at the table. I was like, what do you do? You're out saving lives, aren't you? That's what he said. And I was like, yes, sir, we're trying. I thought that was really cool.
And if we're not, if we were unable to save the life of the person lost, we are there, to assist and provide comfort and resource to those that were left behind.
And that in turn saves lives.
Exactly.
So again, it was a really great event. I think it's the beginning. Hopefully the weather's going to start getting better. There's going to be more events coming up here shortly. We had mentioned the one in May for Parks and Rec, and I think one of your organizations is setting one up too in May. But we need to coordinate because they're starting to look like they're on the same day or the same time.
Yeah, that happens to us from time to time, especially when you get to those specific awareness months. Like Mental Health Awareness Month and suicide prevention. And everybody, everybody does it. But speaking of support, I think, it's important for us to remind people about our kindness page, that you can, support the foundation, and do the show, through the kindness page. Whatever amount you want to or able to throw our way, please do. We appreciate this support. We also have the capability through Amazon. That was interesting. I was talking to my neighbor, who's also my best friend. And I was like, dude, you guys do a lot of ordering on Amazon. I think it's like every day, every other day, I see the Amazon Prime truck, pull up to Are you using, the Amazon Smile? And if you're not, we got to talk. It was funny because he looked at me and goes, well, you need to talk to my wife about that because when I order, I use her account and, just show her how to do it. But it is another way, to support the foundation. It doesn't, that way it doesn't cost you anything else, especially if you are, a avid Amazon user like some of us are.
Yeah.
A portion of the proceeds, goes, towards helping support the show. Then of course we have our T-shirts, both the women's and the men's, in the two designs. Our original design there for. I think that more of the all-encompassing suicide, and the one that is more, seems to be more in line with the logo for the show itself.
Well, the first one was kind of like for our Purple Folder program, so which we have, and all that supports our Purple Folders that we give out to people after a loss. And reprintings will probably be on our third reprint this spring, and and then too we're putting together a new program to help loss survivors, just with some simple everyday needs that you probably don't feel like doing or want to do for yourself. We've partnered with a chiropractor, a massage therapist, who does massage and cranial release technique, and I tell you what, oh boy, you want to have that. That cranial release technique just works wonders. We have Kim from 9 Round, our gym, is going to be a part of it. We've got, so those are like personal care stuff, or even if you want to get a haircut. I was doing an interview for Tampa Bay Business Connections last week with John, and I had mentioned, for this program, having a couple hairdressers also involved, and I said, oh, you know how good it feels just to have somebody wash your hair? And I'm telling John this. He's like, no, I really don't.
We've never had our producer on set with us before. It's been like, will the boss ever come on camera? That's a good question. But the going joke is, I should say the joke is our boss has no hair.
Yeah.
He's got a beard.
It's all down here.
Yeah, he's got facial hair, but no. That's funny.
So that was really kind of funny. But we also have a handyman and a handy woman. Like, you may not feel like doing stuff around your house. I know that there were times where I didn't. And even when I broke my leg right after Bobby passed away, my neighbor paid to have somebody come in and clean my house for me. Because, I couldn't walk. That was one thing. But, a lot of little things like that you don't feel like taking care of yourself. And even if you, as a friend or a family member, you see this, contact us, and so that we can figure out what we can do to help out. Little things like that can really make a big difference in the way somebody feels.
Oh, it is. You think about the range of emotions that you're going through, after a loss, and it's like, oh, and on top of this, I got to think about cooking dinner, and I got to think about, cleaning house, and I got to think about, washing my hair, and things that, we take for granted. Like I think about those things that we do automatically, when things are, quote unquote, okay. And, then you throw, a monkey wrench into the day, and it's like, did I remember to, and like, when you talk about, a chiropractor or a massage, it's like, oh, just to have someone knead out, the tensions or, whatever else is going on. It's like, I've had a massage before, and I let me tell you, I was in hog heaven afterwards.
Oh, yeah. When I get a massage and I get a CRT, oh, it's the best. But it's like, even, a massage or going to the chiropractor, it's kind of like physical therapy. We can do our mental health therapy, which we also have resources for that too. We have some great resources that we're lining up and continuing to line up, which is really awesome. Resources that weren't available 6 years ago. But so we have those referrals too, but it's just as important to take care of your physical health as your mental health, because what is going on in here affects your whole entire body, and your body holds all that.
It's like, I think sometimes when I'm doing, work with, the groups that I do when I'm not doing this, especially, I tend to equate it back to like anger management, because I do a lot, I've done, a billion, anger management classes. But just, like coping strategies and, how do you deal with things when things are, rough and ugly. And, I, will ask people, well, what do you do? And, some people like, I'll go for a walk, or I'll listen to music, and, I focus on, sometimes those physical things like, going for a walk, going for a run, working out, punching a speed bag. And I was like, I want to punch a wall. And I was like, okay, I understand you're punching something inanimate, but, we don't want broken bones or anything like that. Punching a pillow or, screaming into a pillow. But mind you, let's, take it off the screaming into the pillow or whatnot. But like I said, the running, the physical stuff, like think about it, it's when you're running and all of those, good endorphins are being released. And, if for that moment in time that, you're engaging in that physical activity, and then even, for a time afterwards, it's kind of like, I sometimes look at it as a break from reality. And I don't mean, a mental break, a psychotic break from, but, having that just mental break from, reality, and, like taking yourself out of the muck for a moment is really helpful. So I like, along with that, there are, organizations that are beginning to equally recognize the need for support. There are several groups, albeit, some of them are virtual, some of them are in person, for people who are loss survivors, who, either lost someone to suicide, there's another one, lost someone to, a substance. Of course, I'm like, my foot in both of those. But that's the other thing too. Along with the physical stuff, is it's okay to go and talk to somebody. Find these groups, and I'm quite sure within the next couple of shows, we'll have a list of these are the new groups that have been started that. Are no cost, that you can, sign into or join. And I think the other thing too with groups, just throwing this out there, a lot of people think when I go to a group that means I have to talk. And, I think it's important, to point out to people that, when you're in a group, you don't have to talk. You're very, you're rarely, if at all, forced to talk. Sometimes just being in the room and listening to other people, is all you need. And sometimes, eventually, you'd be like, what, I think I want to chime in now. But just being in a room with folks that have been there with you. It is extremely helpful.
It is. And if you, go the therapist way and you come, you go to someone and it just doesn't click, keep trying. Don't give up. You may not come across the right one immediately, but there's somebody out there to help you, and don't give up. That happened to me years ago, and that put me way back in my situation now, but I finally gave in, and I got fortunate. I found someone to click with, even though I know therapists, but it had to be somebody. It had to be some. Yeah, and you're not the only one. It's just like I've got other, clients that are, but they can be resources for other people, for me.
But, well, no, and it is, and I think it's important, myself, being in the field, there was a lot of times where, even if I'm working with someone, even we ourselves are able to, ascertain this, I'm not a good fit for this person, or something, it's like we're not clicking. And for me anyway, the ethics, kind of jump in. I say it's true of anybody.
Right.
This is not working. Let me refer. I don't want you to become discouraged with the therapeutic process. Let me get you somebody that you might have a better rapport with, or gel with better, because it does happen.
Well, it does, and that's what happened to me years ago when I was going through Michael's death, and it was just like, nah, been there, done that, didn't work, wasn't a good experience. But I do have to say it is worth doing, and it is worth pursuing. It really, it is. So, and going back to Amazon and smile.amazon.com, the book that we're going through right now, How to Carry What Can't Be Fixed. If you want to go through this with us as we're doing this, we're only in chapter 3, so.
And I like that these are small. They're very small chapters. They're not long at all.
Yeah, they're small chapters, but they give you a lot
They're
to
very
do.
Interactive.
Yes,
And
very
I
interactive.
like the way they're small and succinct, but when you really sit down and put your mind to,
And if you do your homework.
and if you do your homework.
But anyways, you can get this book off Amazon and smile.amazon.com, and that QR code will take you right to it. We are in chapter 3.
It's getting by with a little help, real and imagined. And for me, the first thing, or one of the first things that stood out was sometimes friends and family are amazing. Sometimes they all seem to disappear. For many people, it's a mix of both. Even with the best support, grief can be incredibly lonely. It's important to look for sources of support whenever you can. Surviving grief is a long haul, and it takes team effort. And, to me when I know we've talked about that in, past shows where, in the early throes, of a loss, or any kind of trauma, and this is, not just true of, of losing someone to a death, but I think about, having had surgery, and, people are, I'll be here for you, just call me and I'm here. But over time, you find that either, the people who, hey, just call me and I'm here, you call them and, the phone's not being answered, or, life goes, and I mean, it's true of all of us, life goes on. But it is, important that you sit back and you identify and know that you do have support systems, because within, when I think of in my own orbit, for example, if I were to list, let's just say, easily the 20 people who said, I'll be there for you, I'm there, I'm there. A percentage of them, you were there for the first, say month, and then back to your life. And there's that, like I look at it as the month, the quarter, the 6 month, and then those that are still there. And I'm not throwing shade on those who, I'm here whenever you need me, just pick up the phone, and call. Because then life does go on. Because at the same time, it's us too. Mm-hmm. Like, I know, I'm just saying for the sake of conversation, but if I know I could pick up the phone and call this person, it's on me. If I don't take advantage of, if I don't pick up the phone and call so-and-so and so-and-so, I can't sit back and go, oh, Tammy didn't call me, and, Tammy said she was going to be there, and she's not. Well, maybe Tammy doesn't know that Bonnie needs her.
Well, and that's just it. And sometimes, too, we even feel like, even though we need something, that we are putting that person out.
We don't want to be a burden.
Yeah, we don't want to be a burden. How ironic. Yeah. And so really, and it's kind of something to learn for both ways. For us in the position to do reach out, because there are those people that are there for you. But then too, on the flip side of it, if you're that other person, remember that we're probably not going to be in the state of mind, or don't want to be that burden. So instead of saying, oh, if you need me, call them. And don't say, have an open-ended question. Just say, okay, I'm going to do this for you. Just,
And I mean, I think that's also true too. In when you're looking at or setting up these support networks or these support people, is and again, if I look at it from this mindset, I know that these are my support people. At the same time, I also recognize that on their list of support people, my name might be there as well.
right.
Because I think of, we look at, today, Aydin's birthday today. Okay, so at the same time where, I'm, processing, all right, he should be here. We should be celebrating 17. I also know that his mom, Kira, Carl, his siblings, my daughter,
Right.
my daughter called me this morning, and how are you doing? And I'm like, I'm okay. And I think I had said something to her last night about the boys from yesterday. And I said, tomorrow's Aiden's birthday. And, she was like, oh, shucks. She didn't say shucks.
Right.
But anyway, she didn't throw her out there like that. But she's like, oh, shucks. Yeah, and I mean, it's, very easy to lose, track of days, when you have a career and everything like that. And it was like, oh, my God, I didn't realize. I'm sure she would have gotten up this morning and realized, oh, my God. Or maybe not, because she's taken herself completely off of social media. But, knowing that as much as we need support, at times that we are also a support for someone else.
And that's quite often true in any situation.
I find that cathartic.
Yeah, I never even really thought about that.
I find that really, really cathartic, because it's like, it doesn't 100% eliminate, like what I might be feeling. However, if me knowing that I am there comforting someone else is by default
right.
comforting to me, because it's like it's almost like I'm taking my mind off of what I might be going through at the moment, or sometimes what I like the process of I feel like crap. I'm really feeling really. Yeah, I understand how you feel. So am I. Let's what's the phrase? Misery likes company.
Oh yeah.
And I know for some people that cliche has a negative connotation. I find sometimes that I like to take that negativity and spin it into something positive. All right, I'm down in the dumps. You're down in the dumps. Let's get together, and I'm not saying that we want to wallow in our sorrows, but I have found having somebody else who is right there with me. After a while, it's like I don't feel like I'm not at a level 1 feeling bad right now, or let me rephrase that. I'm not at a level 10 feeling bad right now. I'm now at a level 5 or a level 3. Because I've been able to talk it out.
Well, and it's funny that you say that, because like my sister-in-law, Mary, you've met her. We've had her on the show, Bobby's youngest sister. I think she does that more for me. I'm not good at that for the rest of the family yet, because just, I guess, I don't know, being Bobby's wife, I don't know. But anyways, like on the anniversary of his death, she comes over and, we revitalize his memorial garden every year. And last year, we taped the show on that day. And later that day, she came over. And by the time we got done doing that, we both felt so much better. I probably much more than her because she was a little bit better than me. But it does help. It does help.
You know, I liked, as we're, talking about, being there, how she included in the book, where it says borrowing mentors, where it says it's not always easy to find people who get it. Grief can make the world feel lonely. And in case you need them, here are some words from people that you haven't met. And the one that I liked was, I kind of chuckled at this one as I was reading. I had to read it a couple of times, but it says, I wish for you days without stupid comments that leave you feeling judged or nauseous or godsmacked at the insensitivity or somehow just worse. I wish for you someone to companion with you in your crater in silence or silliness or snark, whatever you need at the moment. I wish for you a full night's sleep, void of panic attacks and flashbacks and sudden awakenings in the dark, a sleep full of dreams of love and grace, close with your missing one, dreams you carry with you, buoy you until you can find yourself once more. Love, Nancy. And as he had looked at that one, I'm like, I had to sit back and think about, that one resonated with me, especially when it said void of stupid comments. Because, if you remember, last year when I was talking about, me looking at Kira, that's the stupidest thing I ever said to you. But at the same time, it's like, well, that's kind of what we're trying to do. Okay, you'll get the, and I sit back and I think, there are some silly, some things that are well meant, but at the moment we don't look at it in that context. We're looking at it as like, that's the dumbest thing you ever said to me. Or, like I said, about you, who are you to tell me
Right.
when I should and should not, deal with this. But I liked that one.
The one I picked out was on the next page, and ironically, I mean, I liked it too, but the woman who wrote it, her name is Tamara, which is really my real legal name, but I don't go by it because nobody pronounces it properly, and it irks me. But she says here, when you are consumed by your grief, when life has lost its meaning and its beauty, when going forward seems impossible, may there be light, even if it's the tiniest blip in the dark. May there be comforting arms around you, friendly steps beside you, empathetic ears to hear you. May you know that you are never alone, and that if nothing else, you have a family of people who understand. Though we may not really know each other, we understand, and we are here. We are here. You are so loved.
Like I said, it's very interesting when you see a quote in a book. There's another book I have at home. It is, what's it called? 1,000 or 10,000. It's a book of positive quotes. And, these quotes are from, notable, the people in history or, famous people. But they're all positive quotes is what it is. And I actually borrowed the book. There was an intent to get it back. But I borrowed the book from Patrick, I should say of all people. But it's Patrick's book. And I felt myself, whenever I was feeling down, I would go to this book and just pick out the positive quote for the day, and I post it on my, social media page. And or sometimes things didn't have to be going wrong. It was like, I've gotten away from it. Just life and nothing to do. I should say nothing to do with this, per se. However, every day I would just like thumb through, and I liked the way the book was laid out, because it had, if you were going through this, here's a positive quote for that. And, even just hearing something that just fit at the moment, giving yourself something to focus on. It's like I may, go back to that. My other go-to, what I found was the dad jokes. Believe it or not.
Oh.
The dad, it posted, it's like, here's your daily dad joke. And, part of it was, for my own, amusement. At the same time, hearing, someone say, that was, like, it was like, you're so silly. Or, that joke was so stupid, but it's exactly what I needed.
I had mentioned that I had made some signs, and a couple of them were the ones that Rob showed from the event that day, but I was talking to my neighbor when I was in the midst of doing this, and she was like, I want a sign. And I was like, okay, what do you want your sign to say? So she told me, and I said, okay, but the foundation name is not going on it. And I can't even say what the sign said. But I made the sign, but I added a little smiley face with some like little flowers on it. And it was funny because while I was making it, because I knew it doing this kind of thing, and the letters were rough, and so the transfer tape wasn't sticking to it very well, and it was taking forever. And so by the time I was like even halfway through it, I'm like, I'm saying what the sign said. But anyway, I got it done, and it looked really cool, and I snuck over the other night, and I stuck it in her garden thing where she comes out and sits when she lets Stella out. So the next morning, about 8:15, and she doesn't usually call me this early, the phone rings, and I'm like, oh, she saw the sign. And I couldn't get to the phone in time, and so by the time I was calling her back, she was texting me. She's like, oh, I am laughing. And so I got her, and she was just like, because I can't believe it. I am laughing so freaking hard. And it was really cool because it was just kind of neat just to make something. And she didn't even know I was really going to do it. She didn't. I don't think she thought I would really do it. And but it was just really neat to kind of do something like that for somebody just for no reason and just to make them laugh. And I mean, it took her through the whole day. And her son came over, and he's like, I can't believe it. And everybody just got such a chuckle out of it,
Which is, I think is a nice point to where, she has in the book, words are my closest friends. And she says, sometimes the best allies are words, not people. And, she has 6, boxes on this particular page where it says, use this page to collect quotes that are helpful or meaningful. Like, your friend having, that sign as a reminder, like when they go out and they see something, it's like, oh, this is something that, it doesn't really matter how bad my day is going to be. Here's something that's going to make me laugh.
Right.
Or, my having this, book of positive quotes, or, the silly dad, the dad jokes. Sometimes, just having, that silly thing, to go to, like one of my favorites was, I support farmers. You might say I'm pro-tractor. Get it? I'm pro-tractor.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was about.
Okay.
Made me think about it. It's my children's father. My children's dad. My ex. It was on a farm, and I read this, and I was like, if we were still speaking terms, I'd be like, oh, I was like, you might say I'm a I'm a protractor. That's the corniest thing I've ever heard.
It is.
The stupidest thing I've ever heard. At the same time, in its, like corny stupidity, I'm cracking up about it. It's like, that's That's just hilarious. That's like hilarious in its unique way. And sometimes, those quotes are, it can be something, very, deep and meaningful and, have some substance to it, or it could be something as stupid as I'm protracted.
Okay. Yeah, so go through and write stuff down in this book. That's the great thing about this book, that I really like it, that she has so much space here and encouraging you to be a part of what this book is. And then there's your grief mentor, find that guiding star. You haven't lived with loss before. It's hard to know what to do. It's hard to know what's possible living without the one you love. And she has, you have like a page and a half where she guides you through here to use the space below to write about your guiding star. How has this person affected you? What feels possible in the light of how they've lived their grief? Find a mentor. Finding a mentor can be tricky. If you don't have one, write about not having one. That's important too.
Exactly. It is, very, very nice to have, that go-to person that, as she calls him, that guiding star. It's one of the reasons why we do this.
And it doesn't have to be one person.
Exactly.
Remember that too. I don't have only one person I go to. I have several, thank goodness. It would be too much for one. I would be too much for one person.
Yeah. So, and then, and it says here, extra help. Create a bonus made-up extra personal mentor. And it says even the best humans aren't available 24/7. And sometimes even your favorite people can't hold the whole vision of how to best support you.
Yep.
It's great to have an imaginary mentor on standby. And, this is where, people are like, wait a minute, so you want me to create an imaginary person in my hand? Isn't that a bit,
out there?
Weird or out there? Or, is someone going to see me as, defective? And I say, no, it is. I like how she says, it's, jotting down what you feel is, what the perfect mentor might look like, or what do you want in a mentor? Because what I find with that, as I read it, it was like, I may not have a mentor now, okay, or if you're somebody who I don't have a mentor now, but as I'm looking for someone to be that mentor for me, these are the qualities that I need in that person. Because, I look at it, very similar to, going out and buying a new pair of shoes or a new outfit. You're going to try this on, or even, if you're going to get into a relationship with somebody, save mentor, what do I want in the, the perfect partner? I want somebody who is, and some of us have these checklists, and I think, having a similar checklist for, a mentor is equally important, because, that could be, your guide, so that, when you do reach out, hey, Tammy, you know what, we're friends, I really need somebody to talk to, hey, Bonnie, what do you need? This is what I need. And even that person on the other side is able to tell you, what, either A, I can be that person for you, or, what, I can fulfill this, or I might not be that go-to person.
Right. Well, she has in this area, like, I don't know, that doesn't work really well. See those pages are blank? She says here, that's why she leaves these pages blank. Draw or collage your fantasy mentor below. You might start with a person, then add elements of animals, trees, or even parts of a landscape, such as rivers, mountains, anything that can lend support. You get to be as practical or fantastical as you'd like. And then she says to take a picture of your page and have it in your phone, or laminate it. or you can make it into stick puppets. He said, it might be silly, but it could be very powerful in helping you. And especially if you don't have that person yet, you have this with you. And if you believe, which I do, you're going to manifest that.
Yeah, it's always, it's very, something tangible. But along with, having, nice segue into, whether your mentor is a real person or this person that, is imagined. We also, give you guys the reminders, to keep the lifelines and the hotlines, available. Put them in your phone. You don't know when, you may, have to use them. And sometimes those situations happen when, when you least expect it. I had one this week, where somebody, told me they were thinking about harming themselves, and I'm like, okay. But again, like having, these numbers on hand is life-saving. Literally can be life-saving.
So, again, we want to keep Bonnie and the rest of the family in our hearts and our prayers. And happy heavenly birthday, Aydin. The show is for you. I'm sure you're dearly missed by all your family, your siblings, and aunts and uncles, and everybody. So, we're going to end the show with Aydin's. Rob, if you could put Aydin's picture up for us. And
remember,
well,
there's always hope.
Remember, there's always hope. There we go.